All right, looks like we are live. So welcome to Appy Hour. There we go. Welcome to Appy Hour. My name is Anne. I'm a technology trainer with Heights Libraries, and we are getting started today with a session on learning from home. Specifically apps for students or parents who, obviously, the school year is going to look a little bit different than in years past, but we are going to take a look at some apps. You can see their logos here on this screen. We'll talk about Khan Academy Kids. That's best for the youngsters. It's aimed for ages 2 through 7, but we'll talk about that a little more later on. We also have Khan Academy, which is helpful if you're trying to brush up on your math or science skills to help kids out with homework. And we also have Google Arts and Culture, which is a way to kind of supplement an arts curriculum, an art history curriculum. Plus, we're not really going on field trips so much in the midst of a pandemic, so it's a good way to supplement that. But we'll give folks a couple more minutes just to get connected. And as we've done in the last several Appy Hours, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment box on this live video. I've got that up. I should see them as soon as they're posted, and I can try and answer any questions as I go along. Or we'll have time for questions at the end as well. We'll give folks a couple more minutes. As I was saying, this is our live Appy Hour program. We are focusing on apps for students or for the school year starting in this particular session. And this will also be recorded and available on the Heights Library Facebook page, so you can share it with other families in your neighborhood, friends who might be looking for this type of information too, or you can always rewatch it as well. All right, so I think we can get started. So as I mentioned, my name is Anne. I am a technology trainer with Heights Libraries. Jackie and I, my coworker Jackie and I, have been alternating these Appy Hour sessions. So I'm back this week. Jackie did the Appy Hour session a couple of weeks ago on digital wellness, which is also a very relevant topic as we're going back to school. So kids are spending a lot more time in front of screens, of course, as they're learning online. So if you're curious about that, that is available, like I mentioned, on the library's Facebook page for you to rewatch. All of these sessions are recorded and available there. And our topic, like I've mentioned a couple of times, is back to school. So different apps that are going to be helpful as this new kind of strange school year starts. These are relevant, of course, regardless of your individual situation, whether you're using a hybrid model, you're going back into the classroom, or you are starting the school year entirely remotely. All of these will be applicable across the board. I should add the caveat, I am not a parent. I don't have anyone in my family who's headed back to school this year, but these are just some apps that I've come across that seem like they would be really helpful if you are going to be the primary instructor or keeping your kiddos on task as they're learning from home, or just trying to brush up on all of the different topics that they'll be learning as well. All of these apps that we'll talk about are available through the standard app stores as well. I think we've mentioned this in every one of our Appy Hours thus far. So these are available for iOS devices, iPhones, and iPads through the Apple App Store, and also on Android devices through the Google Play Store. So regardless of what device you're using, you should be able to access them. Now, our first app that we'll take a look at has this cute little bear icon, and this is Khan Academy Kids. So this is focused on younger children, specifically ages 2 through 7 is kind of their target age group. It's specifically focusing on, and this is a quote directly from their website, early literacy, reading, writing, language, and math, while encouraging creativity and building social emotional skills. It is 100% free. There are no ads. There's no in-app purchases or anything you have to worry about there. It's completely free. It's well regarded. A lot of teachers and administrators will discuss this as a good option for kids, especially younger kids. And I do have a couple of screenshots included of the app itself. So this is obviously on a larger screen on something more like an iPad or a tablet, but this would work on a smaller device on a phone as well. And there are kind of three major sections of Khan Academy Kids. This center play button is where you can get to their personalized learning journey. One thing to note with Khan Academy Kids is you as the parent or as the guardian, as the adult in the house, you will need to sign up for Khan Academy Kids with your grown-up email address. You can't hand the iPad to a 5-year-old and expect them to get signed in by themselves. You are able to create profiles for each of your children as well, so you can kind of keep their learning paths separate. We can see up in the top right-hand corner, this has a profile for Theodore. His little profile picture is a little owl, so you are able to pick what picture represents each child, so you can keep it separate if you have multiple young kids at home. That center button, like I was saying, is the personalized learning journey, so it will go through things that are considered appropriate in age for each child, each profile. And depending on what each child's strengths and weaknesses are, it might work a little bit more on math and numbers than on literacy if that's where they're struggling a little bit more. So it is personalized. It is going to be specific to each child. If that's not so much what you're looking for, if you have existing curriculum, you just want to do fun stuff, there is a library as well. That's that little library book up in the top left-hand corner. And that allows you to kind of pick and choose. So this could be the child themselves picking what skills they want to look at, self-selecting it, or you as the parent, you get to pick too. And finally, we have our little troop of characters down at the bottom. This is the Kids Club. So this is a little bit more the fun side of Khan Academy Kids. If you want to play more games rather than so much learning, that's what's available there. Got a few more. So this is an example of some of the learning activities that exist in Khan Academy Kids. So it includes things like math, so basic equations, basic subtraction, learning different shapes, learning how to tell time. There's also spelling and the alphabet. So all of that is available, and it is this very cute, accessible sort of layout that kind of draws kids in. I kind of want to play with this too. It's really cute. Now, if your kids are a little bit older, or if you are realizing that it's been a long time since you had to work with geometry or algebra or calculus and need to brush up a little bit as you're helping kids with schoolwork and homework, Khan Academy itself, not Khan Academy Kids, is a great resource. So they're kind of the parent company, and they specialize in learning from grades K through 14, so upper level math beyond what you might cover in kind of standard high school curriculum, and also test prep, so ACT, SAT, GRE, etc. And they specifically mention on their website again, math, science, computing, history, art history, economics, and more are their focuses. And just like Khan Academy Kids, it's 100% free and there are no ads. Arts. This is very well regarded. They've been working a lot with school districts from March on, as school districts were closing down, as they were moving toward remote learning. And there are a lot of good resources on Khan Academy for getting started or getting familiarized with remote learning, learning from home, learning on a computer. They include schedules that are accessible from their website. This is through their website rather than through their app, but a lot of the information is available on both. So they have schedules, so you have an idea of when might work best for your child to wake up, what sorts of things you should do, how long these sorts of sections should be. This is probably best for a situation where you're kind of making up your own schedule. You have curriculum you need to get through versus a specific bell schedule. But that's certainly an option that we're seeing in a lot of schools. What kind of goes along with this is an option that's just been added to Google Assistant, which is available as a smart speaker, something similar to an Alexa device, or also built into Android phones, and even you can install it on iPhones as well. They have added a feature called Family Bell. You can ask Google to create a family bell, just like the bell schedules that you remember from school. This allows you to set kind of timers or reminders of activities. So, for example, we have in this schedule for preschool, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, recommending from 8 until 9 a.m. we should eat some breakfast and get ready. And yes, that means changing out of PJs. If we wanted to, if we had a smart speaker, if we had an Android phone or had Google Assistant on an iOS device, you could add a bell that rings just like the bells in school at 9 a.m. and announces that it's time to get started with school. So this can be a way of adding structure to your day, which helps make the day go faster potentially. Add structure reminds you that you should eat some lunch as well over the course of the day. So that can be a good way to work in conjunction with Khan Academy. Additionally, these are all of the different courses that are available through Khan Academy. So everything from math to advanced math into AP classes, science, computer science, arts and humanities. So pretty much any course that you remember taking in school, it seems like Khan Academy has an online resource for it. So these can be used to supplement the curriculum that your school district has provided with you, a way for you to review to help out with homework. So it's a great resource for you to turn to as we're all kind of getting more involved and seeing a different perspective on education. Now, our last app that we'll take a look at is Google Arts and Culture. Like I mentioned at the beginning, museums, field trips, they're kind of out of the question right now. But Google Arts and Culture allows you to explore museums, artists, creative activities, and more from home through a website or through the app on your phone as well. So it's a way to make learning about all of these different topics more fun, more interactive, even if you can't go in person to see that particular work or that particular exhibit. One thing to note with Google Arts and Culture, there's not really like a filtering option. So just like taking kids to an art museum, there might be some nudity in artwork, might be something you want to keep an eye out on as kiddos are exploring it. But they do have a couple of portals that you are able to take a look at if you're exploring as a family. So they do have, it's a long web address, and I couldn't find an easy way to get to this particular page through the app itself, which is, of course, even though it's from Google, it is available for iOS devices as well. But they do have a family fun page, a family fun project is what they call, that allows you to choose what type of information you want to see. So there's an art section, which mentions that there are art games, tips on how to draw as well. There's an option within that shows you how to fold origami cranes based off art exhibits as well. So all sorts of fun interactive things that you can do. There also are other topics. It's not just art. There are also animals, so more in line with the Natural History Museum, space and science, and also books and movies. We see Harry Potter here. So you can connect to all of these different sorts of topics all through that Google Arts and Culture website and app as well. And there are some fun activities that you can do as well. They're coloring books. So I've got a screen cap of that, where you are able to take these great, wonderful works of art that we're all familiar with and actually put your own spin on it. Actually put some of your favorite colors in there. And there's also some fun interactive things, like this is through the Arts and Culture app itself. You can take a selfie and it will compare your face to all of the different artwork in their database and tell you who you look the most like. I was struggling a little bit with this, but it can be a fun thing to try out and have goofy faces and take pictures of your pets and see how that compares to great works of art. Now, another resource from here at the library is our digital resources for kids and families. A number of the options I've talked about so far are listed on this particular list, but these are curated by librarians, and they've pulled in all sorts of online resources from everywhere you can think of. So arts and all sorts of different options. This isn't available in app format unless you go to our website on a mobile device, then you are able to access it there. But the easiest way to get to it is to go to the library's website, so heightslibrary.org. Then along the top or in the menu on a mobile device, there is the Read, Watch, Listen tab. And at the very bottom of that, there is the digital resources for kids and families. There we go. So all of these different resources are divided into different subjects, different tabs. There are things that have been newly added. There are things that focus on child development, discovery, local resources that are available, things that focus on music and movement, podcasts that you might want to listen to together as a family or have your kids listen to learn some things, and also reading resources as well. So this is just a couple of the options, things like Art for Kids. So that's a hub with all sorts of videos, hundreds of videos of how to create art projects. There's Audible Stories. So Audible is obviously known as Amazon's audiobook platform. They do have free unlimited streaming for audiobooks for kids and families. That link is available here. And there's also an option, a language learning app called Babbel is linked here as well. If you're curious about other language learning apps, one of Jackie's first Appy Hours, which is available on the library's Facebook page, is about language learning. So if you want to make sure that you don't, your child doesn't lose their fluency or their progress in a specific language, you can definitely check that out as well. And those are all the resources that I have today for getting started, getting back to school. Obviously, this is a little bit different than a standard back to school time. But there are some resources out there that we've talked about. Khan Academy, both Khan Academy Kids and just general Khan Academy, of kind of providing structure or information about the topics your child might be taking in school. We have the Google Assistant structure with Family Bells, and we also have Google Arts and Culture if you want to supplement going to a museum, going on field trips, checking out all of those cool cultural artistic things that are out there. Plus, for even more information, we have that digital resources for kids and families through the library. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments right now. I will hang out here for a few more minutes if you've got any questions. You can also, of course, check with your school districts. They may have specific apps that they're recommending. They may be running their whole curriculum through certain apps, so make sure to check in with them, check in with teachers, but these are just some options I've come across to help supplement things. All right. So like I've mentioned a couple of times throughout, we do have all of these Appy Hour sessions available on the library's Facebook page. I believe they're also on the library's YouTube page as well. So if you want to watch this later on, share this with friends and family members who might be having the same questions of how do I get my kids ready for school in this very different situation. You can definitely share it with them. It's available at the Heights Library's Facebook page. Again, any questions, you can just drop them in the chat. All right. Well, I think I will wrap up this session of Appy Hour. And hopefully you all have a good day and a good start to school as we're coming up on that quickly. And we'll see you in the next Appy Hour.